is episode 40 of the Grunge Bible Podcast. How does that make you feel?
Well, I guess this is where we get a midlife crisis, right? Isn't 40 where you start freaking out? So maybe
I think so, yeah. Like
episode 40 of the pod is where we kind of like, I think we got to buy a motorcycle.
Yeah, divorce our wives, strain our relationships with our children, and go out on the road.
What would be the like analogy for like buying a motorcycle for what we do? Would it be like making an NFT? A Grunge Bible NFT, I don't know what to do.
I think it would be that, or changing our bio to like something like influencer or something, or using like the hustle emojis or something.
Cut our hair and change our name. Is this where we go
Trojan? Got a drug dealer on speed dial.
Is this where we go Trojan horse and just change our whole thing?
I think we do. There's no better time than the 40th.
Oh man, I don't know. It feels good. Honestly, Chris, it does feel good. I mean, we'll get to 52 weeks straight. I have no doubt about that. Not missing one, and that is something that I will be proud of, and I think you are too. So we're happy here at Grunge Bible.
We are. So whether this is your first episode, your 17th, your 32nd, or your 40th, we thank you for listening. My name is Chris Salona, as you might know, and I'm here with Ethan Shalloway, ready to bring it to you once more.
Grunge Bible, episode 40. We're back. So, Chris, how was the weekend? We're kind of knocking these out. So we just had a recording the other day. So we're back in the studio. How you feeling today on this Monday?
I'm all right. The rhythm of the wheel is continuing. The weekend was not very restful, and to boot, this is a Monday, and I spent 2 hours of my day today on hold with the Internal Revenue Service regarding an envelope, a notice that I got that I apparently owe them some money, and I couldn't get through to anybody. I got to 2 hours, and they said they were transferring me, and they put me right back at the beginning. So I'm kind of pissed.
Don't you feel just like helpless and powerless when you're just sitting on hold, and all of a sudden they put you to the end of the line, and you can't? The virtual waiting room, strikes again, and you got nothing. It's like when you're trying to buy tickets, and you're in that virtual waiting room, and 11 o'clock hits, and somehow, you didn't know your spot in the line, and now you're out of luck. No tickets to see Pearl Jam.
It's like the equivalent of you go to see your favorite band, and they have an opener who you don't like, and every time the opener goes off stage, they just come back on stage again. It just never ends.
Oh my gosh. Seriously. Or it's like you go and you're waiting for your favorite band. You watch the first two openers, but you really need to go to the bathroom. And as soon as you leave, your favorite band comes on stage, and you miss them coming on because you went at the wrong time, and you're behind the eight ball getting back. But
yeah, so I'm pretty disgruntled because of those events. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. It's raining here. It's Monday. At the end of the week, I'm heading off to Finland to train at the Olympic Training Center there with our group. So I'm gonna be there like 10 days leading up till Christmas. So, I feel like I had a lot to take care of in the next few days, but everything is gonna happen so quick. I'm gonna get back, and I'm gonna miss all of the American like Christmas buzz. We'll see. They got reindeer up north in the Scandinavian countries.
There might be a sighting.
So maybe I'll see Santa Claus.
Well, I think Santa works his way from the from the North Pole south, so you might be on one of his first stops if you're lucky.
If I believed in him, no. So
but
yeah,
you don't.
So I'm doing well. I'm really excited. Like I said, I feel like December is going to go by like this because once I get back, it'll be like the 23rd. Then boom, Christmas, and but all together, I am doing well. I'm excited about a lot of things, so it's good.
Absolutely. Well, that makes one of us who's in a good mood today. But nevertheless, I'm always in a good mood when it becomes time to thank our patrons. And as we know, as we spoke about at the beginning of the episode, this is a special week. 40 seems like a big number, just as people have large 40th birthday parties to celebrate the end of their 30s. We're celebrating the end of our 30s. Shit is getting real now. And when shit gets real, you want to have people by your side. And, we're very grateful for the fact that we've had a good number of people by our side for quite a while now, making this podcast possible. And those people are our top level patrons, and you know their names, but we have to say them because it's important that we recognize these individuals. And they are our number one fan from Australia, Victor Schaefer, Sonny Mashburn, Sue, Shannon Gorgon, Release, Laura Nyreen, Kayla Jean, Jamie Lynn, Jade Mercado, Alexa Shannon, Fuck Soup, and Anita from Grunge Magazine.
Amen. It's always good to hear those names, and we are, in fact, extremely thankful. Yeah, it's not possible without you guys. I don't know how motivated we'd be without having people telling us.
Yeah, so it goes without saying that those individuals I just mentioned, they are going to be in the VIP portion of the Grunge Bible 40th birthday party.
100%. And if you want to be a part of that VIP section, come the 50th birthday party. It doesn't take much. It takes $2. It's like the equivalent to a shitty cup of coffee, as we like to say. So if you've been thinking about it, you've been listening, and you like what we do, I double dog dare you to go and commit.
Take that leap.
$2 a month if you can. And if you can't, just keep listening, keep subscribing, yada, yada. Love you guys. But, Chris, what do we have on deck today for our December 17th release episode?
We have something pretty exciting. So as we know, Christmas is drawing near. We're 8 days away at the time of this release, and this is the everybody, all the little kids, all the adults even are dotting their I's and crossing their T's on their wish lists. So today we decided to put together our wish list for a all-time grunge set, a set list, any artist, any song, any time period, put them together in concert form, or if you were to attend and by some violation of the laws of time, space, and physics, these bands with these songs from these eras were to follow one another one by one until the ultimate culmination. This is what we're doing. So Ethan, I took some time to compile my list here, as I know you did. And what are your thoughts on this exercise?
I think I found it very enjoyable to write these stuff down. I took everything into account, tried to look up the year and the venues, if I could get really specific with that, to kind of teleport to that exact moment in time, because we talk about all the time how we miss being able to see these shows live. There's nothing worse than missing a time frame when you could have went and saw them. So this is the making all things right and going back and talking about what talking about what it would be like if we did be able to see whoever we wanted. So yeah, I found it really cool. I tried to do my best with mixing in things that just historically I feel like I should be at, stuff that I maybe aren't as big, but I still wanted to be able to see them, and just I don't know, just kind of took the liberty to fill out a set list. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. I've done this a couple of times before. I think I did this with Pearl Jam. They had released an application or a widget where you could kind of create your dream Pearl Jam set list. I remember doing that. Yeah. It's kind of fun being the architect, and especially this one. I mean, this one is completely, the gloves are off for this one. Yeah. I mean, you can pick anything that you want. So I kind of thought of it like, you're standing there in the crowd, probably a nice outdoor venue, maybe. You're way up in the front in the pit, and you're waiting all day for the tension to build, and finally when you hear that first song, and I tried to get a little bit of variety and kind of follow the tenor of what a lot of shows are. The tension builds for the big opener. They keep the high energy for a little bit, take it down for a little bit before bringing it back up. Then you hit that nice intermission, and you come back, rip some songs, and then you have the encore, obviously. But real quick, what are your thoughts on encores?
This is a great question, and I really do love encores. I love anticipation for like when stuff ends and people come back. But I will say I've hit a lot of shows in the recent months and whatnot, and the encores are just is a formality at this point, and it's becomes kind of lame. Like they kind of come back, and it hasn't been, encores have not been good in 2 years. I feel like I haven't seen a good encore. They just kind of come back, they play the songs that you want to hear, which is great, but I don't know. I haven't been as impressed or kind of floored. It's just kind of like everybody stands around and waits for them to come back out, and they don't really. It's never a good timing. They don't. You know what I mean? It's not like when we get the loudest as a crowd, they just have to go. Take their piss and get a drink, and then they come back. I don't know. It's kind of been underwhelming lately, and I wish that people would bring. There should be maybe I haven't been to a big enough show, but I want to see, bring on someone special for the encore, bring out the other bands, but they've kind of been a little lackluster for me lately. But I do love the aspect of more music at the end of a show.
I fucking hate encores.
There
I
we
hate
go.
them. I think they're the stupidest thing in the world because everybody knows that they're expected because I think most artists are given like a set slot of time to play, and then when the time's up, the time's up. So number one, everybody knows it's coming, so it's stupid. You drop your instruments and you walk off stage for 43 seconds, take a swig of some sort of drink, and come back out. I mean, in my opinion, it's just wasted time that you could be playing. And it's funny. So I went to this must have been like 3 or 4 years ago. I went to a drive-by truckers show, and that's I guess they're kind of like a country rock and like a little bit of like southern rock jam band kind of job going on. So Jason Isbell, he had started in that band, and they're led by a man named Patterson Hood, and they were getting to that end part, and in between one of maybe like the fourth to last song and the third to last song, he was like, you know what? He's like, fuck encores. He's like, that's just time taken away from me playing. So we're just going to keep fucking playing until they tell us to get off the stage. And I appreciate that, because I think it'd be different if you didn't know it was coming. But you all know it's coming, especially for like
nowadays. I
and like for a band like Pearl Jam, for example, where they close their shows with basically one of 3 songs, and until you hear one of those 3 songs, the show's not over. And I mean, especially half the time, you can even just see the guys like they're behind the drum kit or something. You can see them; they're clearly not gone. So just stay out there. I'm not it never did it for me, and. It still makes me laugh when people leave. Like, how do they not know that it's coming,
Yeah, I mean, it's like a glorious idea. Like, back in the day, people just cheered so long. They wouldn't leave. They cheered so much that you had to come back on and play another song. And that sounds so epic. But like I said, nowadays, it's like a formality.
Because it's more or less guaranteed, so.
Yeah, so.
I feel like you got to earn it.
Yeah. You got to be big. Yeah, you got to earn it.
And I've been in crowd. There's a lot of crowds that don't earn it, but they get it anyways.
And that would be awesome. That would be awesome. People, if I played the whole show and they're like, the crowd really wasn't giving it to me tonight, and I'm done. They don't get it.
Taking an early night.
They don't get to hear "Kids" by MGMT. That's one of my favorite. Like when bands, like big bands that have like 1 or 2 hits in the public eye, and people go and they don't play them, and it's like, what the hell? Like,
it's the ultimate middle finger.
Yeah. So I think we're all kind of on the same page. I just want to hear the good music, and if the crowd
absolutely
if they're good enough, they get an encore. But I feel like it hasn't been that way.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. But
so but you scheduled an encore in your show.
Yes, in keeping with tradition, I did schedule an encore for my show just because I feel like the listeners would be a little upset if I didn't. So I had to appease them. But I think it would be a good crowd. I mean, if after the first portion of this show, if it's not a good crowd, then we need to check the pulses of everybody in there. So I think I'm feeling pretty excited about my list.
So am I. I'm kind of jacked up for this right now.
Yeah,
do you want to do like first 5 songs, or do you have an intermission?
I do have an intermission.
Okay, so is it like 6 songs in or something?
My intermission is after the 7th song.
Okay, perfect. So do you want to do like your first 7, and I'll do like a similar thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. So
all right, you're up first, Chris.
I am up first. So. You gotta put yourself in this space. So you're out in the hot sun and you're waiting. And for me, out of all of the grunge world, if there was one song that would fire me up, we're gonna open up with "Searching with My Good Eye Closed" by Soundgarden. Especially the guitars start, and then they do. I don't know where it's sourced from or if they recorded in the studio, but they have that voiceover thing saying, "This is my good eye. Do you hear a cow?" And then like everybody just goes fucking ape shit, and things just get absolutely nuts, and the drums kick in, and Chris just goes absolutely wild. I think that would be the perfect opener. I would definitely select, for the era, probably 1992 or so. I would say I'd pick a show where they were opening for Guns N' Roses in Europe. I think that was absolutely fantastic. They stole the show there, as as is customary for the mighty Soundgarden. But I think that one would just blow the hair off of your head and get you all started up. So that is where my opener would begin. And the difficult thing about this set list is I tried to spread the love around. So like, I'm a Soundgarden guy, I'm a Pearl Jam guy, I'm not a big Nirvana guy. But there's some other bands I wanted to get in here. So I figured, Soundgarden comes on and plays Searching, and then we roll right into something that I think fits really well at the beginning of a set, and that would be Come Bite the Apple by Mother Love Bone.
Oh, I think
that, so Soundgarden gets you going with Searching with My Good Eye Closed, and Come Bite the Apple is just a really, really great rock song, in my opinion. I don't really feel a whole lot of grunge per se or glam or whatever. I just think it's a fantastic rock song. It's got a great chorus. The verse are pretty high pitched or high tempoed rather, and I think that it kind of keep things going. And obviously, any time around 89 or 90 before Andrew Wood passed away, I mean, they were a fantastic band, and Andrew Wood was so captivating. So I think that definitely has a place in my set list. Moving on to the third song, we're keeping the energy up, and it doesn't get much more energetic than this song. This being a grunge show, obviously we know that this band has to make an appearance, and that would be Mudhoney ripping into You Got It, Keep It Out of My Face. I think that's got to have a place in there. It is my favorite Mudhoney song. I think the energy is great. The message is great. They say just because you got it, I don't want it. So that one's got to be in there. So that would be my third song. And pretty much any time after that album was released in '89, any of their various tours from '90 or '91 or even '92 at the Reading Festival, some great performances in there. So anything from that time, I think they would be really, really great. And then that can kind of set the stage for the one contribution that Nirvana would make. I chose Breed for Nirvana, not specifically because it's my favorite song, but because I think the energy of the song fits really well at this part of the set. So it's like you open with Searching from Soundgarden, Come Bite the Apple goes into You Got It by Mudhoney, goes into Breed. And I mean, Breed is just so high tempoed, a lot of energy. I mean, Dave's drum work live is second to none, so that gets you going. And I'm a big fan of in shows where it's like they get you going and then they bring you back down. So after Breed, I bring it back down. I get the Screaming Trees out there to perform Dollar Bill, which is it's a longtime favorite of mine. It had been one of my top 5 streamed songs on Spotify like 3 years in a row. This year finally broke the streak. It's not there anymore. But I love Mark Lanegan, and I think this would be a great song to kind of bring it down to. And I think before the Connor brothers and Mark Lanegan hated one another to the point that they probably wouldn't speak anymore, I'd probably get a performance from '92 after Sweet Oblivion came out to get this one going. And then this is a song which they did not perform in their classic lineup very often. I don't even know if they performed it, more than just at Unplugged, but I would want to hear No Excuses from Alice in Chains. So that came out in '94 with Jar of Flies. So anytime around there, they didn't tour in '94 or '95 really. So somewhere around that era, I think before Lane took a turn, furthermore than he did, would be a great thing to hear. So it's like you build up, you keep the tempo going high, the trees bring you down, and you strip it down with a nice little acoustic intro to No Excuses. You get Jerry ripping a nice little solo at the end. And that's our 6th song, and we've been playing for a little bit. So before the intermission, I think there's only one place to go to. And recently, this is the song that I think virtually, for all of their shows, they play prior to their intermission. And I think it's got to be in there just because of, what it signifies to me and just the importance of the song and what goes on during the song. That would be Porch by Pearl Jam. They pretty much closed their first act of their shows with this recently, without fail. I think it's a great spot for it. It builds things right back up. I love the sudden shift changes too, and bands have been known to do this. They get some acoustic numbers in there. They bring you down and then they bring you right back up before the intermission. That is what I would go with. One of the extended versions, maybe some rafter climbing, maybe not. I don't want to spam the iconic moments in here, but anything pre-96 for this, I think would be great. Because they jam it out for a little bit. I mean, Ed can do whatever he wants. If he wants to spin on his chair, if he wants to climb the route, he can do whatever. I don't care. I just want to hear the song. And then that brings us to the intermission. So I think that's a pretty solid 7-song run. You got some variety for the bands, no repeat acts, and you get some up tempo, you get some acoustic, you get some introspective, you get some fuck you in there. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything.
I love it. I believe that I have one repeat offender that I'll be that I also picked, which I enjoy. I love the opener. I love Searching with a Good Eye. That's one of the songs that I almost chose. I chose a different one from the Lala concert. So great start. My dream show would start. You picked an outdoor venue. I think I would go indoor.
Okay.
Mainly because it just
loud.
It just be louder. It would just make it a little bit more intimate right off the bat. You'd have to go outside to smoke your cigarettes. You couldn't do it right there.
Well, depends. I mean, this was the 90s. Maybe anything goes. We weren't alive, but I don't know. Maybe it would have gone.
Yeah. And then they could do like more lights and stuff if they wanted. And then I think, we didn't talk about this, but they didn't make it in my set list, but I think that the perfect band to open up for most concert would be Red Hot Chili Peppers. They would play their own set list for a half hour to get it going, because they probably would do something crazy like, just wear socks or, wear like big, who knows what they would dress in and do. So they would be super energetic for 30 minutes to get us really going before we get the show going. And this is one of our favorite guitar riff intros. We talk about it very often. It just gets you going really well. And it would be Dissident by Pearl Jam.
Oh, yes.
And we are definitely going with the 1993 with Abrazis behind the kit, just pounding away. We've seen 2 shows and we haven't seen Dissident yet, so it's on our list. And I think that it's an absolute killer opening song. I mean, any of these songs could be great openers, but we're going to go with Dissident because of our history with that song, and we haven't seen it.
Totally.
Second one is probably going to be Sex Type Thing by the Stone Temple Pilots.
Okay.
And
you answered the what about Scott question nice and early. He's right on the bill.
And he was going to be he was actually going to be the opener. That song was going to be another great opening song, but Dissident, I mean, you can't if it's dark in that room and all of a sudden you hear that guitar come in.
Yeah, you hear Mike taking you to new heights.
So I want that experience. But then Scott's going to come out dancing, moving around, probably like his performance at Reading that I just put on Porch Radio actually was really excellent. That's kind of what made me think about this whole dream setlist idea. So Sex Type Thing will just be an incredible song. It's tough with these bands to decide if you want a acoustic song from them or a live song from them, because STP I could go both ways, but I went with young Scott on the big stage for this show. Then we're gonna keep it up, really kick it up a notch and keep it at high energy, and we're gonna go with Jesus Christ Pose from the Lollapalooza set. I mean, and Chris would just come out and say, "This one's for Jesus," and they would the drums would just absolutely start hammering away, Cameron back there, and we've talked about this with Liederman. He says it's like the perfect song from Soundgarden, and I was like, you know what? It really is. It has everything. It has the vocal range that you want to see from Chris. You need to hear. You need to hear those the highs of his voice, and then it's just got incredible instrumental. So that's easy, straight out of the Lollapalooza set. That takes us to number 4, and I actually I think I might move one of my songs up just for a little bit more rhythm later, and I'm actually going to say this is our one repeat song, and it's got to be "You Got It" by Mudhoney.
Absolutely.
As you said, they need to be in the set list. Absolute banger of a song, favorite one, and yeah, I think that we're just going to keep the energy high, get some Mark Arm in there, and just really enjoy listening to some Mudhoney. And then I'll go so at number 5 coming in, we got our Nirvana song, and I made sure that I picked a performance. So I was looking at performance or times and whatnot, and I made sure that I picked one that had Pat Smear in it because I need Pat Smear on stage. I mean, he's just the glue that people don't realize.
He was in fucking Nirvana, man. People forget that Pat Smear was in Nirvana.
Yeah, I need Pat Smear smoking a cig on stage. So I went with Drain You, specifically the Live and Loud in Seattle in '93. Just a really, really great performance. Kurt's vocals are awesome. Dave Grohl, it's a kind of poppy song, so the energy's up, but it's not so intense like their other stuff, and also the other stuff that we had just listened to.
Definitely.
It's got a really, really great drum track to it. And Kurt said that he thinks that song should have did better than Smells Like Teen Spirit. He said he put a lot more work into it, which is funny. And he thinks that's just, altogether a great song. And I agree. It's one of my favorite songs by them. And it was that's such a great performance. And then so this takes us to number 6. And I'm going to have to say that I really want to be able to see Andrew Wood. So I also put Mother Love Bone in there. And I mean, Chloe Dancer is a beautiful song, so I'd probably want to hear that. And I don't know, I was torn between that and Stardog Champion, but probably Chloe Dancer, so we bring it down a little bit, and enjoy some more intimate music going on.
Because you could roll that right into Crown of Thorns. They did release that. You could get a 2-for-1 and cheat the promoter a little bit, play a little bit longer.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I had in mind. And I think that the respect for Andrew Wood throughout all the musicians and whatnot and everybody, I think that it's only fitting that he's right there in the middle of the set list. And then this would be the last song. Actually, I would say we take the intermission after that. I'll probably cut it right there. That was that 6 songs?
Yeah, you had 6 right there, I believe.
Yeah, so I'll leave that for the intermission. And yeah, I don't know. Those songs are all very intense. You got to bring it down a little bit at the end, but it would just be such a good time.
Absolutely. I think Mother Love Bone at the end is absolutely perfect because you just. There's a little bit of quiet on the stage, and then Andrew Wood hops behind the piano to play Chloe. I mean, that's pretty great. I mean, that'll the best songs like that are nice shift changes, tempo changes. It's like they get everybody to be quiet right away as soon as they start. And I think as soon as you'd hear that piano, Andrew Wood would kind of get everybody to pay a little bit of attention right after all the rockers that right after Drain You. I mean, they bring you right back down. And Crown of Thorns, that kind of escalates into kind of like an epic, almost ballad type thing, and that's a perfect end for the first act of the show, and I definitely love the inclusion of the Stone Temple Pilots. I think Sex Type Thing is fantastic, and it's in a good spot in the set. Yeah,
I think that early STP is hard to beat. It's something I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss on stage, so put them in there.
Absolutely. So we both have our first act. I think they're both really great. We seem to have followed similar blueprints, which is great, for comparison's sake, because I think we're going to need to take some votes on this as to whose set list is better. So we've got the first act under our belts, and after a nice little intermission, I bring it right back in. So my concept and my belief is that, the start of that second act is basically you get a second shot at an opener. You get to open things up again, and I went right back to the well for my this would be my 8th song, my first song of the second act, and that would be Slaves and Bulldozers from Soundgarden. So everybody's running to get their beers and everything, and it just starts off nice and slow with that apocalyptic drum beat from Matt Cameron. Specifically, I would pick the Pink Pop 92 version. It's like 15 minutes long. So for my second act, I definitely took a little bit of a different strategy here, where I went with a couple of longer songs here to kind of fill to kind of scratch that itch if you wanted to hear some jams and improvs and whatnot. And that version, in 1992 is absolutely out of this world. They sample a few different songs, and I think Kim's playing the guitar with his beard or with his teeth or something at some point. It's got something for everybody, in my opinion. So that'd bring people right back in, and kind of, you remember why you're there pretty quickly. You shuffle back from the from the concessions, or from the bathroom line or whatever, because you don't want to miss Slaves and Bulldozers. Not
at all.
Yeah, you can't be missing that. So for the next one, for the ninth song, which would be because I had to account for time here a little bit. I had a couple of longer songs. I mean, Porch is definitely longer there. Searching with My Good Eye Closed to open was long. Slaves and Bulldozers, I mean, that's 15 minutes right there. So I had to be cognizant of time here, if we're playing on a bill with multiple acts. So we're closing it down before the encore, but we don't know what's coming. So as far as we're concerned, this is the ender. I switch. I get a little Temple of the Dog in here, and it might not be what you think. I go to Reach Down by Temple of the Dog, and it's like an 11 or 12 minute just epic of a song. Mike McCready plays out of his mind on here, and definitely, I'm partial to the powers of McCready. I'm partial to the work of Soundgarden, so put them together here. I mean, you get Temple of the Dog going out here, and Reach Down. I just think once again, it's got a lot of those different elements, and I think it's got a good climax to it, and at the end they kind of bring it down and close up shop with that. So, prior to the encore, I think, an extended version of Slaves right into Reach Down from Temple of the Dog, both probably, certainly the Slaves and Bulldozers from Pink Pop 92, and Reach Down, I'd want the 2016 version from when they went on their tour, the last, the final Temple of the Dog tour for the 25th anniversary. That's the band I'd want out there, just because I think they were so seasoned by that point that they were just absolutely automatic. That's what I would pick to close up my set. So what about you? You're coming back on the stage. The intermission's over. What does the Ethan Shalloway grunge band rip into to open up?
Well, it's so funny because you come back and you see it as the another chance to bring Soundgarden on, and I went the opposite. I was like, I want it to still be dark, and instead of ripping into it, I want to have Jerry and Lane up there, and I want to get some. It was a tough choice. I went from the unplugged set. I decided that I could only pick one unplugged song from any of the four bands, and I decided I wanted to see Alice in Chains unplugged, and I chose Nutshell. I feel like,
wow,
yeah, I wanted to get something
sobering. An hour and 15 minutes into this show. Wow.
Yeah. The show has two acts. I mean, this side is very different than the last, but I just thought, I thought I wanted to see that side of Alice in Chains. I want to see, and maybe he'll come, maybe Lane will be back for more later, but I wanted to see acoustic. I wanted to see Jerry and him harmonizing and doing some lower end stuff. So yeah, we come back in. It would be quite, like I said, we're inside. It's dark. It's a small venue, so we had to access that.
I'm kind of like chilling up, just kind of thinking about that. The lights are still dark, and then you hear that half step down acoustic, and
he's wearing the glasses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the next one. This one will probably surprise you. They're on my honorable mention. I put Boris on my honorable mention list, but because just for shits and giggles, But now the next song is actually, I don't know why, but I want to see Hum play Stars from
from deep cut
1995. We got put onto him a couple of years ago, and I just kind of want that alternative progressive rock and roll. I mean, I want shorts, high socks, and guitar riffs. And so
that's a recipe for success right there.
So right after Nutshell, they're gonna come on and they're just gonna play, and it's gonna be ethereal. It's still dark. They got the fog machine going on, and then it's like quiet, and then he's just ripping into some guitar. And then same thing for my closing song. I left it up to the man of Mr. Billy Corgan.
My goodness.
I figured it fit well with Hum. It fit well with the whole atmosphere, and I wanted him to come out, and I kind of bounced around, but I ended up with Mayonnaise because it is like my favorite song, and I think it has an incredible ethereal start to it, a good guitar work the whole time, and then he rips into some great
that pairs well
level
with the Hum
solos
with Stars right there. I think I can see a bridge there.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I chose them too. So, and I think Corgan would be really good to have on stage at the end. I don't know what he would do. Who knows how long it would go, but
who knows if he'd even want to go on? Maybe he'd say, "Fuck this! I'm not playing on a bill with these losers."
But yeah, I figured I'd get Smashing Pumpkins up on there. I didn't know if you'd be putting them on there, so I decided to.
Yeah, I like that. I tell you, I did not expect Hum to make an appearance on this All-Star bill, but I like it.
And Dinosaur Jr. just missed out.
I was expecting Feel the Pain.
Yep, I have I have Dinosaur Jr. in my honorable mention. I swapped him out for Mudhoney actually because I needed Mudhoney on there.
Absolutely. Wow. So you close out with Mayonnaise, so it's like you send everybody away contemplating life and just every single choice they've made for the last 15 years of their life, and I send them away with Reach Down.
Yeah, do you mind if I go ahead and show my encore real quick?
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah, because I'm in my feels thinking about leaving with Stars and Mayonnaise to close up the show and Nutshell.
Nutshell. Well, get this. Then I bring him back. With it has to be done. We have to see Mad Season out there. So, I mean, I don't want to say it's cliche, but I really want to see River of Deceit, and it fits the whole like theme of what we're doing. So Lane comes out and we play. I mean, I was trying to look up some live performances that I want to see, and I don't really have a specific one. So. Just River of Deceit. It's just such a beautiful song that we talk about often, and I just think that I want to hear it. I want to be able to hear that live. So that would be the 10th song of the night, and then for the final song, we'd bring back everybody, and we'd bring back Temple the dog, and probably listen to some Hunger Strike to send us on our way.
Sing along there. Yeah, that would be great.
It's just a beautiful song at the end. I was trying to think of getting Eddie and Chris back up there, and it's a song that you want to see. Like I was looking through some of the versions, and when they would. Was it the 92 where they played on the sideshow?
The side stage, unannounced. Yeah. Chris and Eddie just got up there. I think it was during Ice Cube was actually on the main stage at that time, and everybody comes running to this side little stage to see Chris and Ed taking care of it because they throughout Chris's life they did not play it together that often. I think there's like 3 or 4 times that I can think of the two of them sang that song together. So. Yeah. The pickings are limited, but that would have been magical. I'm also a subscriber, and it seems like you are too, that the final song of the encore kind of has to be something where like everybody can put their arms around one another and just, end on a good note where you're feeling good.
Yep, the last waltz,
Exact. I shall be released. Yeah, that is fantastic. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it. I think, like I said, kind of get a little chills thinking about it. I don't know if I'd like the first half or the second half better, but both just would be so much fun.
Yeah.
So how about you? Where's your encores? How they come in?
Well, the show ended with Reach Down, but because they've been such a good crowd and they've been singing along and they haven't had to throw anyone out of the pit. We're coming back out for 2 more songs, as is customary. And my first song that I come back out with is it's actually an edit. We're calling in a band that hasn't made an appearance quite yet. They were hanging around, so we decided to put them out there. And the song selection is probably not one that maybe many would pick, but the Stone Temple Pilots are going to make their long-awaited appearance here. I didn't forget about Scott, and they're going to go on and start off the encore with a song off the Purple album called Still Remains. And it's, I just think about the instrumentation on there and the lyrics, and it's got one of my favorite Scott Weiland lyrics of all time, and it's just one phrase, but the lyric is "Drink the wine and save the water," and it's just such a great song, and I think it maybe kind of fits the encore vibe a little bit. and it's one that's always kind of resonated with me. It just sounds great to me. So they come on and bring it on for that, and then. If you know me and you've paid attention to anything I've done with Grunge Bible, you probably might know what my final song is to send everybody away. In my opinion, it's probably the greatest closing song for any rock concert or for anything, and Pearl Jam comes back out and sends you on your way with Yellow Ledbetter.
Yeah,
it has to be Ledbetter.
Yeah, as expected. Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. And for the eras, I would definitely want something for that STP to be around, around 94, 95, when Scott was still, performing at his best before, he really began to struggle. And then for Pearl Jam, I think so much of the experience with Yellow Ledbetter just depends on what type of flavor Mike wants to give to the soloing. He's done a lot of different things with that solo. And the lyrics, obviously, Ed has done a lot of different things with the lyrics. And I don't listen to that song to listen to what Ed has to say. I listen for Mike. I listen for that solo. And we actually heard that at the Wrigley Field concert in 2018. They closed with it. It was a bucket list song that I wanted to hear Pearl Jam perform, and they performed it. But I can't think of a better song, to play to send everybody home on a good note. I just think it's the perfect song to close with.
Yeah, that is, you cannot go wrong with that. I mean, it's a lot of fun for a lot of good reasons. And yeah, the soloing, I mean, it's a great choice. Great choice.
Yeah. So in review, my set list front to back, just so everybody can be refreshed. Searching with My Good Eye closed by Soundgarden. Come Bite the Apple from Mother Love Bone. Then that leads into You Got It, Keep It Out of My Face from Mudhoney. Then Nirvana comes on and rips into Breed. Then we have The Trees with Dollar Bill, moving on to No Excuses by Alice in Chains, Porch from Pearl Jam. Nice little intermission. Soundgarden brings us back with Slaves and Bulldozers. Temple of the Dog makes an appearance, giving us a great version of Reach Down. And then the encore, because we've been such good music fans, the Stone Temple Pilots play Still Remains, and then Pearl Jam comes back out to play Yellow Ledbetter.
It's just amazing. That sounds like such a joy. I'd love to be right there next to you. And then maybe the following weekend we could go to my show where
absolutely.
If I'm giving a quick rundown, Red Hot Chili Peppers, they get a 30-minute, 25. I'll give them 20 minutes. They get 20 minutes before the show to get everybody pumped up like a pep rally. Then we got Dissident, Pearl Jam starting it off, Aberzees on the drums, heading into Sex Type Thing by Stone Temple Pilots, bringing in Jesus Christ Pose from the Lollapalooza set by Soundgarden, You Got It by Mudhoney, bringing on Nirvana so we can play Drain You with Pat Smear, obviously. Then we have Chloe Dancer / Crown of Thorns, double feature by Mother Love Bone, and that's the final. That was the final for the intermission, and then coming back after the intermission, we got Nutshell by Alice in Chains, getting low. Hum coming on and playing Stars. Going right into Mayonnaise by Smashing Pumpkins. And then we have River of Deceit by Mad Season. Then we're going to finish it strong with Ed and Chris singing Hunger Strike so we all can sing together. And that is my dream set list.
That is great. And this is... I think the thing about this genre is, as we've mentioned many times, there's not really a whole lot going on. There's not really a whole lot of new life being injected into it. So, how we listen to these songs and how we think about these songs really is the primary, life giver for this genre. So I think an exercise like this, it gets you thinking about the songs in a different way, and it's also pretty fun. I have a question for you about your set list. Were there any late revisions, or did you change any of the songs around? I know you said you moved Sex Type Thing up one, but there were two changes that I made to my set list. That partially were inspired by some of your selections, and then also just kind of thinking on the fly. So it's kind of an authentic element because you see the set list and they always, something's sharpied out, something's added, the arrows everywhere.
My same thing. I had a few things switch up. I actually, at first I had Hunger Strike and River Deceit switched, but then I switched them. I moved You Got It. That was a late edition. I had to move that up because it didn't fit with the second half of the show. So there was definitely a few little, and I had, like I said, I had Dinosaur Jr. on there. I had Sonic Youth on there, but I couldn't really decide on what songs, so I left them out. So yeah, it's kind of fun. It is fun. It is a nice little practice to kind of like where, like what songs and why, you know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so for me, I made 2 revisions. So I moved "Come Bite the Apple" up to the second song. Originally, I was going to go searching right into "You Got It" by Mudhoney, but I decided that "Come Bite the Apple" was going to fit better after searching before "You Got It." And then my next kind of revision here was actually in the encore. So originally, for the encore, I had Alice in Chains returning to the stage to play "Sunshine," but I think Jerry got into a fight with somebody backstage, and the Stone Temple Pilots were around, and you know, I felt like it was necessary to get them on there. And originally, they were thinking about playing "Atlanta." But then they decided that they wanted to go a little bit deeper into the catalog and pick "Still Remains." I don't know if the DeLeo brothers were able to find their acoustics, so they had to stick to their electric instruments there and hammer that home. But those are my submissions. You know, definitely. You know, you said Dinosaur Jr. and Sonic Youth, you know, weren't able to make the cut. I had wanted to get L7 in there. I had also wanted to get Primus in there. Maybe Primus would have been my opener.
I was thinking Primus and Tool. I was like, do I bring them in? I was going to say, what other bands did we miss? Did we miss, like... I'm trying to think. I think, yeah, those are the main.
There's so many bands that it's so difficult. I mean, you could have put Hole in there. You could have put Local H. You could have put Tad in there.
Local H, yeah.
You know, there's so many. There's so many. You know, maybe even Green River or something. You know. Yeah. It's just it's hard to think about. Also, another thing that is just coming to mind, but the show's over, so there's no going back, is that all of the individuals from Right Turn by Alice in Chains credited to Alice Mudgarden because Chris Cornell and Mark Arm also gave vocals. This would have been the one chance in history to have them sing that together. But we missed out. I mean, Chris was there, Mark was there, and obviously Lane, Jerry, and the rest of Alice in Chains were there, but they didn't. I don't know if they maybe they didn't think of it, or they couldn't. You know, they hadn't rehearsed it, so they didn't want to do it. But that's a big missed opportunity with my set list.
Yeah, didn't even think about that. That's big miss. But what are you gonna do? It's impossible to get everybody on there.
I think we're sending everybody home happy with this with our set lists, though.
1,000%. We'll have to do this again. We'll have to come back. I want to do like maybe not like pick the songs, but we'll just kind of like do a draft. I've heard someone do this. They do a draft of bands and kind of like, you know, put together a festival, like a dream festival and stuff. So maybe we'll do something like this in the future because that was pretty fun.
Absolutely, yeah, and definitely if anyone's out there listening and enjoyed listening to ours and feels so inspired to create their own set list of Seattle, not Seattle, but just, you know, 90s bands in general, because it's not even grunge, because we had bands other than Mudhoney on the bill. Right. I'd love to hear it. You know, it's interesting how people's, you know, tastes and perspectives kind of inform what their choices would be. Because mine certainly did with the Heavy Diet of Soundgarden.
They were the only band that I think got 2.
Soundgarden and Pearl Jam both played 2 songs apiece. Alice in Chains was originally slated to, but as we said, Jerry got into an altercation. So
Jerry, I can't imagine him being so hostile.
I know, right? It's unbelievable.
It just doesn't seem like it, but
seriously,
awesome. Well, if you guys are still listening, thank you so much. Like I said, we have a lot of fun doing this. Keep listening. We really appreciate that. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. And one thing for all of our Apple Music listeners out there, unlike Spotify, because Spotify still has to get their shit together and allow this, Apple Music, you have the ability to leave a review and to rate the show and give it a starred review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and you're enjoying the show, if you could take, you know, the minute or 2 minutes that it takes to navigate over and fill out a review, you can leave a comment in the review, or you could just give us some stars. That really helps us in a big way. You know, when we launched the show, we had a lot of people go out there and rate it, and it really helped us out. And lately they've been coming in, but a little bit more slowly. And I know that there's more listeners out there that haven't done it so far. So if you're out there listening on Apple Podcasts, Even if you're listening on Spotify, but you have the Apple Podcast app, go on over, be a dissident for a second, leave a review on that platform. That would really help us out. And for anyone who's listening on Spotify, go ahead and follow the show. We're at 2,500 followers on Spotify for the Grunge Bible Podcast, which seems like a good number, just like 40 episodes seems like a good number, but who can be certain for sure? And otherwise, if you're one of the proud few on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like and comment. Mm-hmm. It's all good stuff, because it helps us out. But we also enjoy reading the comments and the reviews and just enjoy the back and forth that you may know well through our Instagram page.
Yeah, 100%. And as far as schedule, I think we're going to get a little bit more into the stats for our year in review podcast episode coming up.
I think we will. A couple weeks away.
Yep, we got 2 more before the year's out. One that'll be centered around some, holiday music, and then the other will be a year in review. And I think we're both pretty excited about that, to kind of go and talk about some numbers that we've experienced over the year, and what stuff did well and what you guys enjoyed, and just how far we've come in a year, in the words of Matchbox 20. Let's see how far we've come.
Unbelievable. That song was so big when I was in middle school, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It was from Exile on Main Stream, their album, because they totally ripped off the Stones.
We used to play that song, Chris. That was one of the original songs that we used to play.
That does not surprise me.
It was so hard to learn on the drums when I was young. The speed behind it, I thought it was like, I don't know. It was a great song. Matchbox 20. I don't know. I might just listen to them this afternoon.
They have their play. I mean, that first album, Yourself or Someone Like You, I think it was called, with 3 a.m. And oh man, I always have a soft spot for Matchbox 20.
Oh
I
man, maybe it'll
Thomas.
Maybe it'll make it in the song of the weeks. One of these.
Maybe, yeah. Speaking of which, I'm very excited about mine. I want mine to be the second one that we share, though. So I'm gonna request that you lead us in, because I don't think you're gonna be able to top mine. So I'm not even gonna give you the opportunity to do so.
Not a problem. I like the confidence behind that. That's totally respected. My song of the week, I posted it just recently, and I was in the weight room on Friday, and I was getting hyped up, and I put on some heavy rock and roll. And when I say heavy, like some screaming and some metal stuff, but my song, it was a cover, but the original, I'm going to shout out the original because it's the great Dio, and it's Holy Diver, and it's just classic. Just metal guitar. I've watched a few of him online. I mean, Dio's just an incredible guitarist. A lot of people love him. I posted Jack Black singing it because it was just an incredible version.
Black,
Yeah, I just love that guy so much. He's hilarious, and he has an incredible vocal range himself. He's extremely talented. But the song in general, I just was like, man, I got to listen to. I don't know if we've been talking about staying heavy, these days, but I'm like, I'm kind of getting into this little bit of a metal, like, kind of the old school stuff, and I'm really loving it. So I'm putting Holy Diver on there, so you'll be able to get your taste of metal on the playlist now.
That is great.
I guess that doesn't hold a candle to what we're about to hear from you, Chris. So let's get right into it. What do we got?
I do appreciate the inclusion of that song, because it definitely is a genre that we don't listen to much, and personally I don't enjoy and don't value. But mine is coming from the potentially critically acclaimed 1973 album from the great Shel Silverstein. So he released an album in 1973 called Crouching on the Outside, and I shared the photograph of the album cover on Grunge Bible on December the 6th. It was a Sunday night. Possibly the creepiest photograph that's ever made it to an album cover.
The most grungiest album cover I've ever seen. Has to be.
It is incredible. So I didn't know this. Somebody commented, Shel Silverstein wrote A Boy Named Sue for Johnny Cash, and he wrote the pretty much the entire catalog for Dr. Hook, the song Cover of the Rolling Stone. He wrote all that, apparently. So not only was he, a children's book writer, he wrote hit songs for Johnny Cash, he recorded music himself. He took the creepiest photographs of all time. And this one is from that album, Crouching on the Outside, and it's a song called The Ugliest Man in Town. So my song of the week is The Ugliest Man in Town by Shel Silverstein. Partially, I think the song is kind of funny. I think Shel is hysterical. I think he looks hysterical. I think his writing is hysterical. It's you can't top it. There's no beating it. And it's just a song that everybody needs to hear.
It is,
and it's more importantly than the song, it's an album cover that everyone needs to see.
Yes, this is great news. I didn't even think about it. I guess authors can write good lyrics. Yeah, it makes sense that. Wow, The Ugliest Man in Town. That with that album cover is just.
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
That's one of the best children's book writers in history, right?
Yeah, Big Shel.
Dude, that's a great one. Great call, Chris.
Big Shel is grunge as fuck. I've just decided we have a lot of power with this Instagram page, and I think we need to use our power to somehow get Shel Silverstein into the grunge influences
not enough people know him. Yeah, not enough people know what he looks like, I guess.
I mean, he inspired Kurt Cobain. He inspired Jerry Cantrell to write Higher from Human Clay. So,
Scott Stapp.
They're all inspired by him.
Well, that's the best news I've heard all day. That's actually incredible.
Turn your day around real quick.
Wow. That's great. So what an episode. Thank you guys all again. I hope you enjoyed our set list talk and then our Shel Silverstein talk. And we'll be back same time next week for another episode of the GB Podcast. But until then, stay heavy, rock and roll. Anything else, Chris?
Stay fucking heavy. Ever since Eric said that during our interview, I think that's got to be something that we continue on. But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate it. And as Ethan said, we'll see you and we'll be in your ears this time next week. So take care. Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.